Welcome, race fans, to the digital duel of the decade, where one sticky racer will get the grand prize. The race starts right now. Metaplex boy leading the way while number 6 is following him. He's off, grabbing the golden mints for instant prizes. But he's not the only one in the running for the grand prize. If you want to take your chance of win the grand prize, visit LastMint.fun on Tuesday. Be early, be late, be lucky. LastMint.
Sharko, what is happening, man?
Hey.
How are you?
One thing. I love the video.
I love Thank the video. You. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you saw it. We put that on our Twitter, our X account heading into like the mint and stuff. So wanted to have some fun with it. But yeah, be early, be late, be lucky. How are you doing, man? I know it's been a crazy day. I know you guys have a ton of stuff going on at Metaplex. I guess I'll start by introducing myself. I'm Corey. I'm one of the founders of LastMint. And let you introduce yourself, Sharko.
In short, I'm Sharko, BDN Partnerships in Metaplex. Yeah, happy to be here. Happy to talk to Corey. So let's go.
Good stuff. Hey, so we're streaming on X as well as YouTube right now. If you guys are watching on either of those platforms, give us a share, give us a like, give us a comment. We can also read your comments if you're watching this stream on both X. So leave comments in there. We can find them. So if you've got questions, feel free to ask. So two things I really want to do today. First off, I want to promote what we're doing together. LastMint, obviously a new platform launching on Solana, just starting to pick up steam. Metaplex, you guys have come in as one of our like flagship partnerships, and super cool. We've got some free mints going on right now, a whole bunch of like prizes taking place just by coming to LastMint, and this is all made possible by you guys, by Metaplex, which is really, really cool. And then I want to share all the cool things that Metaplex is doing, because I think you guys are somewhat an invisible layer of Solana that powers so much of what we interact with every single day, but we don't necessarily see Metaplex as a part of that. And so I want you to be able to unfold some of the things you're doing. I know the two huge initiatives, Core as well as Genesis. We'll get into both of those. And if there's anything else you guys are super excited about, that we can talk about that too. So sound good?
Of course. Yep.
All right. Awesome. So let's start with let me share this here. So we've launched a partnership together, and this is really made possible through Metaplex Core. We're going to talk about this in a little second. We'll talk about our history as well, because we've got a unique history. Me specifically, coming as a founder of Honeyland into founder of LastMint, have had goods and bads with Metaplex. Although I think in the end, once I dug a little bit deeper, I was really able to see how much Metaplex is doing, and some of the really cool things that you guys have done to continue to empower so much of Solana and builders in Solana, as well as degens, which I happen to be both. So we launched just yesterday this free mint collection. I'll go to LastMint. We'll do this. We'll probably mint a little bit later as well. But if anybody goes to lastmint.fun, Sharko, do you have a promo code that you know of, like a referral code?
Like a personal one or a Metaplex promo code? A personal one, I don't.
Okay, so if you guys have somebody throw a referral code in here. If you guys want, anybody can use Corey, but I'm not trying to build my referral tree through these streams. I try and do stuff on my own. I've got a bunch of friends that I'm bringing in as well. But you'll be asked for a promo code or a referral code if you have one when you come in here. Connect a wallet, and you're on the site, and you can start minting. And one of the cool things we've done is most of these are paid mints. It's a mint launchpad. We'll talk about LastMint in just a second. But we have this free Metaplex collection. And so right now we can see there's 236 of 300 gold mints remaining. Every gold mint is worth at least $10. It is completely free to mint. So when we come here, you've got to pay the on-chain fees. There's a little bit of Solana rent, whatever, but it's minimal. We can mint here, and we're going to see, this is me, no breaks. Unlucky in this time. Let's try and mint again. We don't need to mint until we get gold, but there is, I think we have about an 8% chance. So we're more than likely not going to hit gold with each mint, but the goal is it's a free mint. Let's keep minting until we hit gold. And eventually we'll end up with a $10 golden NFT. And then as soon as the collection ends, you'll be able to redeem that. And it's $10 worth of the MPLX token, the Metaplex token. And then the way LastMint works is there's huge prizes for the people who are last. So we can see whoever, if this collection were to end right now, I would end up with 5,600 Metaplex, which is about $1,000 right now. So $1,000 cash worth or USD worth of Metaplex token will be awarded to the final minter within this collection. And then everybody who's what we call runner-ups, where you're close but you're not quite last, is going to end up with about 560 of the Metaplex as well. And then, of course, we'll have 300 people that, without even being late to the collection and being one of the final minters or runner-up minters, will be able to just get a gold mint. And again, these will carry at least $10 worth of value in the Metaplex token. And so this is really cool. It's for us. It's a great way to get people to the platform, get them testing out LastMint, and then hopefully, minting for free through Metaplex, and then being like, man, I wonder what all these other things are. I wonder what this is. I wonder what some of these paid collections are. Why is there an Arsenal NFT here? What the hell is Para? Why is this crazy pregnant lady on here? And ask all those questions, explore all of those. Some of these are going to be fully meme collections. Some of these are going to be real artists launching cool art collections. But every single one of these is an actual game where there's prizes to be distributed. And we'll talk about LastMint, but some really unique mechanics that when you're minting for any of these paid mints, obviously your free mints, there's no cost to them. Just simply mint. Let's keep minting. Let's hit a gold. We'll get one before we end this stream, I promise. We will not leave this stream without a gold. Another miss. But the idea here is that all of the mint funds that are going into the pool are ones that are locked in a pool, and then every NFT or every asset that's minted in that collection will have a redemption value at the end. And so you'll be able to basically claw back some of that soul, or you can just hang on to the NFT and trade it as you normally would when you mint NFTs. Sucker Punch says can't connect with the Phantom Mobile. There should be no issues with the Phantom Mobile. Make sure you're in Phantom. Make sure you use their browser. Make sure you go to lastmint.fun. And then from there, you should be able to pretty easily connect your wallet and start to play. We haven't had any issues with Phantom or Soulflare or really any of the option wallets that we have. All right, let's do this, Sharko. I've been talking a whole bunch. And again, we'll come back to this stuff. But what I really want to do is I want to talk about some of the amazing things that you guys are doing at Metaplex. I know I said I've been talking. I want to tell the story of kind of our history, but let me first get into, let's talk core first. Are you good with that? And then we'll talk Genesis, and throughout core, I'll probably weave in like what this actually means, because, we can talk about core and all the standards that you guys have built and how basically all the tokens on Solana are running off of a standard that Metaplex has built. But maybe you can take us back to the beginning and share a little bit about kind of how we've arrived at Metaplex core and what it means for us and what it's actually doing to power a lot of Solana and projects like ours, both Honeyland and LastMint.
So yeah, like in short, everyone probably here knows that Metaplex kind of came to be around the idea of this first deployment of metadata on chain, where we were the company that basically enabled the first creation of NFTs on Solana. That was back in 2021, and that was like the first thing that Metaplex did. After a while, we built a lot of tools, a lot of different stuff that helps developers deploy programs and built their products on Solana. But when we talk about core, the way we approach things in Metaplex is we try and figure out what the ecosystem needs the most at a certain point, and then we try to solve it from a technical perspective and try to enable something that's going to help the ecosystem. And core came to be because token metadata, which is the first NFT standard and the first standard for metadata deployment, we realized after a while, as Solana grew, as more and more NFTs got deployed, and more serious companies started working on Solana, Honeyland included, the necessity for cheaper, so to speak, NFTs came to be. So we built a compression program, which turned out to be somewhat not enough for most of the builders on Solana, and we started looking.
Sharko, was that the CNFT standard?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
And the idea around the CNFT standard was to enable mass production of NFTs, like in the millions, for more corporate entities, which, like, for instance, I'm just going to make an example. Let's say Nike wants to do a shoe drop, and they want to have an NFT tied to each shoe that they sell, which in terms would mean, like, I don't know, 1 million NFTs being created in one day. For a company like Nike, that add up of costs just for the Solana rent, when you look at token metadata, meant that there's a big cost for them to actually be able to deploy that. So we kind of went the route of semi-off-chain deployment, where CNFTs were created to enable a very cost-efficient way to deploy NFTs. But these NFTs had a lot of disadvantages. They weren't really usable in some cases. They were a bit hard to deploy. But at that moment, that was probably the best that we could do. But after a while, of course, if you're a big blockchain enthusiast, you want stuff to be on chain. You want it to be verifiable. You want things happening on chain, and this is why we started looking at the first NFT standard, which was token metadata. And our engineers, big shout out Keith, Michael, they looked at the specs, and they realized that the way that token metadata was built before was from a multi-account perspective. Which was maybe better suited for fungible tokens than it was for NFTs. And then they discovered that that program could be optimized. And that's how the single account model was created, which meant in turn that we could save a lot of costs on Solana rent, a lot of costs on creation of these assets. And this is why we enabled Core to be 90% cheaper than the old standard. And on top of it, they had this great idea of building a plugin system, which enables you to write off-chain logic, like custom logic that you can think of, and then attach that logic to the NFT. I mean, that all sounds very technical or maybe even confusing to some people, but in layman's terms, before, if you wanted to enable an NFT to do certain stuff, certain logic, like certain behavior that is outside of the program, you had to build it off-chain in like some middleware on some site, and then take the NFT and then do that stuff off chain, which isn't really blockchain native. And because we built the plugin system for Core, all of this stuff can happen on chain, can be automated. And what's like probably the most interesting use case that I've seen so far happen with Core is the enablement of AI models, AI agents living on chain as NFTs, having their own power to execute certain stuff on chain, and that being fully automated. And this is what's possible with Core. So that's something you can think about now.
Can you imagine if you would have made that statement like 5 years ago, what we would have like? We'd have been like, I have no idea what you just talked about. An AI agent living as an NFT, doing stuff on chain, built on blockchain. It's really cool. That's what's so fun to be a part of Web3. I was a part of the Web2, basically like ramp up, back in the early, late 90s, early aughts is when I started my first business. And I was a big part of that. And it was fun to watch the growth of all these things. And I remember early Web 2, the idea was like, you could like comment on a blog. And that was like the first time that there was like read write to any sort of or interaction. And then you could, social media got created where you could not only just like read stuff, but you could actually post stuff, and you could on somebody else's wall or your own content. And that was kind of, and then now you fast forward to where literally my groceries are purchased online through a mobile device and show up at my door, an hour later. Like that's what Web 2 has gotten to. It's not writing on somebody's wall, happy birthday. It's now having my groceries delivered in hours with digital payment systems. That just wasn't, we couldn't have even started to draw a line to where that was going. And that's what I'm so excited about with Web3 is that we can't start to draw all these lines, and I have this same, I've talked to people about LastMint where I'm like, there's so much freedom for creators to start, we're kind of building a tool set for creators to come in and launch in really creative ways. And I don't know how the biggest utility of LastMint is going to be in 6 months or 12 months from now. Like right now it's minting meme NFT collections and maybe some legitimate art collections. We have a couple projects that are going to be launching collections, but it's a little bit kind of rigid and we're not really pushing the bounds. And I cannot wait to see. I saw somebody, there's also good and bad actors that I'm really excited to see. But there was, we have these free collections going on right now, these free gold mints, you and Solana. And I saw Solana hit $200 overnight, and somebody launched an NFT that is like $200 Solana, which when I first saw it, I was like, oh, I think they're trying to represent as like a prize pool. I'm like, okay, that's one way that we're going to do this. Turns out, I think it was somebody from our team who actually launched that. So they weren't trying to like scam. I think they were just trying to like get some new art and excitement. But it is really interesting to see how people kind of take the technologies and let them unfold. And I think what you guys are doing is kind of saying, cool, what do you guys need? What's the next layer of empowerment for Web3? And how can we then start to build the tooling that you guys are going to need to get there, right? And I think you've done just an incredible job of doing that. I'll tell a quick personal story, which is kind of how we first met, which was, Honeyland has, we've minted, Honeyland, was created by Hexagon Studios, since acquired by Bravo Ready, but, I'm the original founder of Honeyland, and for 3.5 years, that was my entire life. And Honeyland has minted over 500,000 NFTs through the game. And early on with the original Metaplex standard, it was reasonable to mint. And then Solana had this boom moment where everything went from like $15 to, $150. And so what would cost maybe, a couple quarters to mint would all of a sudden now cost a couple dollars to mint, right? And this just happened so quickly that nobody really had time to react. And so for us, when we're minting, Honeyland is minting close to 20 to 30,000 NFTs a month sometimes, and at minimum, like, 3 to 4 to 5,000 a month, that starts to become a significant cost. And we actually, as a project, we're taking that on for quite some time. We eventually built a system to where we kind of passed that on to the players, and then the players started to realize how much, minting was costing. And this was not just a Metaplex thing. This was a Sol thing too with rent. And so you guys then said, let's figure out how we can take that standard, and now we need to adjust and build core. I was trying to think of like an analogy between core and you guys first built the CNFTs as well, which is kind of an immediate response. And then, I was trying to think of like what would be an analogy to this. And I think, the kind of these big blocky, like computers, like desktop computers is kind of like the old Metaplex standard. And then laptops that are just quicker and cheaper and just do more are kind of like the core standard. They're far more efficient. They essentially do the same thing, but just in a far more efficient manner. And I'd say the CNFTs are kind of like Raspberry Pis, where they're just meant for not like high performance. They're just meant for volume and what you need, right? And so like, these are kind of the three things, but you guys have taken a desktop and shifted it into a laptop that is a incredibly high performing laptop with core. And we've now gone from what would cost several dollars to mint an NFT through not just Metaplex fees, but through what was required on chain to Solana in order to mint an NFT through the regular standard, has now been dropped to under $1. And, depending on what Sol is on any given day, somewhere between generally 40 to 70 cents to mint an NFT, which is really, really cool, with a lot of that being redeemable too, that, is Solana blockchain rent. And so, but that's powered by you guys. I'm wondering, this is one question I have. What's your relationship with Solana Labs? Because it seems like Solana should be the team, like Solana Labs should be creating the standards, yet Metaplex has come in and kind of been what's doing that. Are they supporting you? Are they challenging you? Are they, because I know that they have like Solana token standards that they've launched and certain things where they like write similar to what you've talked about, plugins into NFTs and tokens and things like that. What's your relationship with them? And yeah.
Sorry, I'm muted. So basically, there's when you talk about Solana in general, they will always try and challenge you. They will always try and push you, like any builder in this space. And I think that's a great idea. Like from the start, I have this feeling that Solana, in terms of like the foundation and Solana Labs and everyone there, doesn't really play favorites. I mean, when you look at Anatoly, he always just highlights good builders, and he doesn't usually care if you come from either the Solana Labs team or anywhere in the vicinity of them, or you just came there and deployed something. He just highlights good builders, and I think that's good. I think you need to be challenged. I think you always need to be pushed, and our relationship with them is, of course, close. Metaplex came out of Solana Labs. And to a certain degree, like it was one of the projects that was incubated in Solana Labs and then, came to be. And of course, we have a close relationship because we always want to help Solana Labs also do anything that they want to do. I mean, they have their own standards, and we are here also to build other standards. And I think we solve all of the problems together at the end of the day. I don't see that relationship as either being competitive or as too much brotherly in that sense. I think it's both. To a certain degree, they need to push us and we need to push them. Like everyone needs to push everyone in this space. So it's a really good relationship. And sometimes we are going to get some information out of Solana Labs, which is going to be, hey guys, can you tackle this problem? Can you look at it and see if you can propose a solution? Can you make this better? So we are always going to listen to them. We are always going to try and bring a solution to the market that's best. And sometimes that problem is going to come from Solana Labs, or in other cases, it's going to come from the market directly, from us listening to the builders and seeing what the majority needs. Like Core came directly from the market. Core came from a bunch of builders saying the same thing. We need something that's leaner, easier to deploy, cheaper, that's going to make those token metadata problems go away and enable us to use NFTs again in a way where the products aren't going to have problems such as you just mentioned. And in different times, like with CNFTs, we're going to get a message from Solana Labs saying, "Oh, look, there's a bunch of corporate clients that are looking into using NFTs. Can you build something that's going to be really cheap and really easy for them to use?" So there's always something, but we're more than happy to always talk to Solana Labs and try and help them as much as possible.
So one of the benefits of Solana is that it's really cheap to operate online transactions, and you can do a lot of stuff very quickly, very cheaply. Obviously, what that opens up is a lot of spam, and I think CNFTs certainly open the door on that. It's one of my fears with LastMint, and obviously what Pump Fund did to tokens is that it basically just created just a what Tully would call a bunch of digital slop, right, for these NFTs and stuff and meme coins. And so that is a fear. It's an excitement of mine, but it's also a fear. Is that like something real, or do you feel like no, just get everything out there, or do you feel like if we're too careless with make it too easy and too cheap and too effortless that sometimes the cost of minting or transacting actually like ETH has becomes actually a benefit to the security and the cleanliness of or the what's the right word that I'm looking for, but you get what I'm saying, like the hygiene of a blockchain. Do you feel like that sometimes we're actually pushing things that are maybe bad for us because it's more like eating junk food than proteins?
Well, I'm going to share my personal opinion on this. So when you look at blockchain and as a technology, what does it entail? It's permissionless. First, open to anyone. So building any type of products on blockchain needs to be open and accessible to anyone. And at the end of the day, our goal, like a goal of any technology builder, is efficiency. So we're always striving for some sort of efficiency. And unfortunately, in this case, it means we are all going to go in the same direction, even if at the end of the day. Like, I mean,
layer twos and BKs and all that stuff and made all that stuff
exactly. And unfortunately, in case of CNFTs, in case of meme coins and anything else, that's a part of blockchain. That's just it. And I think that the one con to the whole system is the fact that the responsibility of taking care of the whole thing lands on the user. The user needs to educate himself, and the user needs to know what he is clicking, what he is allowing, what transaction he is signing. And I think there's always going to be spam. There's always going to be shit coins or whatever you want to call them. And there's always going to be scams. That's something that is completely unavoidable if we are building a trustless system. Unfortunately, everyone needs to educate themselves and be careful out there. And that's it. At the end of the day, we at one point where like the CNFT spam was at its highest, we were asked by multiple entities in the ecosystem to look at how we could make that go away. We even had a working group comprised of all of the ecosystem partners. Like there was Sulfur, there was Phantom, there was Slorg. Like everyone was put up in one group to think about the same problem, and we came to the same conclusion. There is nothing that we can do that can solve this problem, or we will have to make it permission. Sure. But if we make it permission, it's not blockchain, and then the whole point of it just goes away. So it's the same pitfall all over again, and it lands on the same solution, and that's the user needs to kind of look at things and be careful and not click on anything. In terms of CNFTs, I think we made some progress. Like the wallets started, hiding some of them, and we were looking also into some technical solution which would make it a bit harder for the spammers to actually just deploy them. The bots and stuff. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's just a permissionless system. Everyone's going to use it, and at the end of the day, you just have to look at it from a perspective of, is this something that looks too good to be true? Is this something that I should click on and stuff like that? You know?
Yeah, and to some extent, I know it's all decentralized, but I love when, you know, Metaplex is a centralized entity building into a decentralized world. And I think it's best when the good actors, or the actors who have been here for a while and have the best intentions, are the ones who are building the technology into a decentralized world versus, you know, the bad actors. And everything's going to get built at some point. It's all going to get built. And I think that's kind of where you guys are at. If it's decentralized and permissionless, then we can't control who's and what's going to get built. So let's make sure that the best people are in charge of some of those things, which I think is really cool. All right, I want to shift gears. Metaplex Core is huge for us. It's huge for, it empowers and enables LastMint. Would not be possible with Metaplex Core. Really, really excited to start to push the bounds. And I think you'll start getting, you know, you talk about early on that you guys build tools for what the ecosystem needs. I hope that we're going to start pushing some needs onto you guys and figuring out how we can really start to expand the utility of NFTs. Because our goal is with LastMint, you know, everybody I talk to and I say we're building an NFT casino or launchpad or whatever you want to call it, and they go, yeah, NFTs are dead. You're like 4 years late on that, Corey. And I'm like, no. What we're trying to do is really expand. I think NFTs as we knew them with 10,000 PFP collections, although we've seen some start to rip this last month, but nonetheless, I think new collections like that are going to be difficult to launch. But I think NFTs, we've only started to scratch the surface. And when people 4 years ago are like, you're basically paying $50,000 for a JPEG, why don't you just get the JPEG for free? We're kind of right. And not right, but in a sense, NFTs can do a lot more than just display digital art. And I think what we're trying to do is unlock a new chamber there that says, like, listen, you can have an NFT that also represents a part of a pool, a redemption pool that you can like play in this game, and you can guarantee on-chain, permissionless, and trustlessly. You can know that when you do this, you'll have access to this in addition to, or in addition to the art or the utility that the actual NFT provides and has been able to provide for 4 years. And so we're trying to move this down the road a little bit. I think this is the very first step. I think NFTs will start to become a much, much, much bigger part of our lives moving forward than a much smaller part of our lives. I just think that we're going to be seeing them in ways that they bring new utilities that didn't exist or don't exist today into unlocking those capabilities. And LastMint is really trying to push that forward. And so excited to be a part of this journey with you guys through LastMint with Metaplex. And yeah, really cool. Let's shift to the other side of the tokens, which I have to be honest, I didn't know that Metaplex had anything to do with fungible tokens until I learned about Genesis. I believe that you guys have had something to do with fungible tokens since day one also. I just, again, this invisible layer of Solana that you don't really know about. You have people like Helios who are powering us. You have people like Metaplex who are powering us. You have people like Solana Foundation that are powering us. And nobody fucking knows what they're doing, right? Like, but we do as the builders, but it's all these invisible layers powering all the products that we're using every single day. You guys have a new product that you've just launched called Genesis, which is absolutely wild, which is, from my understanding, allowing basically token creations to solve a lot of the problems that have started to creep in over the last 18 months as Pump Fun has become big with a lot of sniper bots and a lot of just kind of, I shouldn't even say over the last 18 months, because we had rug pulls and all different things from when early tokens were launching. So from ICO days, there's been problems all the way into the meme coin days. They present and represent different things. And I think Genesis is ultimately trying to say, we want to make it ubiquitous and decentralized to be able to launch tokens, but we want to do it in a way that we can protect that when launching through Genesis, that people who are participating in these tokens can be protected in ways that they are not previously protected. I'm going to run your guys' quick promo video. I don't think we'll have sound. And then I want to open it up to you to share a little bit more about Genesis and provide some context what it does. If you guys can hear the sound, great. If you can't, the video is still really good without sound. All right, here we go. All right. So what is Genesis? Why does it matter? And how and who is going to use it? I'll let you take any of those questions in any order.
Okay, let's start from the top. Again, with Metaplex, anything and everything that we build comes from us realizing there's a problem in the ecosystem and that there needs to be a technical solution first, you know? So we attack every problem with the same intent. As soon as like the whole meme coin meta started acting up, as we saw that there was a bunch of tokens being launched every day, and that like 99% of them are ending up as completely unclear scams with no information, with not enough security, not enough confidence. We just wanted to act, you know, we wanted to build something that's going to bring confidence into token launching again. As token launching is probably the only way you can start a company. I mean, it's not the only way, but it's, for most projects, it's the only way you can start a company on Web3. So that's how we looked at the whole problem, and there was Genesis being born in front of our eyes. And again, big props to our developers. When they attack something, it's a beauty to see what comes out. So Genesis is a tool suite. First of all, some confusion there. Always, everyone thinks it's a launchpad. It's not a launchpad. It's a tool suite, the same way we built Candy Machine way back when you wanted to launch an NFT. You had this sort of program called Candy Machine, which you could integrate into your own site, and anyone could come there and mint directly on the site of your project. The same way we attacked fungible tokens, and that's how we look at Genesis. So it's a set of tools that has, to some extent currently, anything and everything that you could need for a proper token launch. That doesn't just mean launching the token. It's not just a generation tool. It's also a tool to migrate liquidity. It's also a tool to defend against bots. It's also a tool to fully on-chain do the vesting of contracts. So the idea is to have something that is completely transparent, completely on-chain, visible to anyone, and very trustworthy. Some of the problems are highlighted in this video that you just shown. And the way we look at Genesis is we are going to build it up gradually. So every new customer that we have, every new, like whether it's a launchpad or it's a project that wants to launch a token, they are both very much welcome to come to us and to integrate parts of Genesis or all of it. And some of them actually came to us with certain needs. So for instance, when we started building Genesis, we had this idea how most of these are going to look like. And then after a while, there comes, I don't know, Shaga or comes Portals and says, hey guys, but could we have this? Because this would fit into our logic of our launch quite nicely. And then we were like, okay, we didn't think of this. Let's build this. And then this same cycle keeps happening now. So Genesis is growing every day with every launch. And the end goal is just, building up this completely trustworthy system where anyone can come in, take whatever part they need, and make their own launch. The way we do the launches currently and how we approach things is you as a project can come to us and say you want to do a Genesis launch. We will help you build the UI, build the whole site, integrate Genesis into it, and you can do your own launch on your own website and have a fully integrated experience also from the user end and from your end, where you can control anything from one simple UI in the back and just deploy everything through one channel. This is Genesis, basically.
It's super cool. And if what I'm hearing is basically if we're launching a token and I'm a legitimate project, right? I think there's two sides to this. You have Pump Fund. That's not what you're trying to compete with. What you want to compete with is projects who want to have legitimate, basically token sales and utility for their token. They want to have a sustainable liquidity and all of that. And for people to actually buy into that now, we want to know that there's not a huge allocation going to investors. We want to make sure that there's not sniper bots, that there's front runners, that there's all of that stuff. And so you say, great, here's how we can ensure this. We can write all that stuff into the smart contract so that that pre-sales are done in a way that there wasn't anybody getting a pre-sale before the pre-sale, or that when the the contract address goes live, it's going to be done at this time, and the contract address can most likely, I would imagine, be known ahead of time so that you can make sure that everybody has a fair chance to get in early, not the team, and then you announce it 10 minutes later and everybody else is kind of left to be there. You can make sure that there's you guys are identifying what I always like to say is like identifying and enforcing bot mitigation. And so having ways to do both of those things, not only identify, but to enforce bot mitigation is really important. And when you know all of those things are going into a token launch, now we can be a lot more confident that if we love the project, we can know that the token is also something that can carry from a technical standpoint, can mitigate some of our risk. And I think that's really, really cool what you guys are building there. And I assume your goal is that eventually any legitimate token launch, like for a project, and I don't mean that meme coins aren't legitimate, but somebody who wants a sustainable token that will require, that has more legs. Fuck it. I don't need to distinguish between real tokens and meme coins. We know what we're talking about. That I don't know why I'm like trying to be politically correct here. Real tokens should be launching through Genesis. I think that's probably your vision, right? Is that becomes the standard, very much in the same way that Metaplex is the standard for all NFTs. Is that and I know that the token standard is already going to be set through you guys, but the way that you're launching it through Genesis is probably going to be a standard. It sounds to me like right now you said, hey, contact us, and it's not a launch pad or a platform. It's more of a series of tools. To me, it seems like this is kind of bespoke and that you guys are taking projects one at a time right now. Is that accurate, or could anybody come in? And what's the future of this? That could any project eventually come in and through kind of a dashboard be able to set all the rules and parameters and launch through Genesis? Is that the ultimate vision?
So generally, yeah. I mean, if you're a good enough developer, you can basically come in and integrate Genesis as a whole in anything. But currently, we're approaching every case separately, and we're not looking into launching like 100 projects per day. That's not the goal. The goal is to help, as you said, some of these real projects. When you say real projects, to me, that means tokens that are providing utility, that are building an actual product that's going to be advancing the ecosystem in some way. And we are just trying to support the best builders that we can find in the ecosystem in the right way. And that's the vision of Genesis here, to basically support builders that they're doing really important projects. And currently, like our schedule on Genesis is, let's say, one launch per week. As we view the whole thing as also, giving them space in the launch time frame to not collide with other projects, to give them the full marketing appeal, the full to keep the space separated from all of them, so they have the highlight in 1 week and that everyone can focus on them. So yeah, we're just trying to do our part in helping the builders who are actually making a difference in this space and who are going to bring in, as we like to say it, the billion users. And we're trying to be there for them. And one thing that I forgot to mention, if you are working with Genesis, you're not just getting the technical advantage. We are also helping each project in all of the separate parts that are connected to a launch. So if it's marketing help, we have that. If it's some sort of incentives that come along for trading the token after it has hit the market, it's also that. What I'm talking about here is we are leveraging our network, because we are very much aware of the fact that we have been here for a long time, that we are working with almost the whole ecosystem. So we are leveraging our own network to help all of these builders and connecting them to the right pieces that they need to power their launch completely. Whether it's pre-launch or post-launch, we are currently building this network, which is here to help everyone, not just in a technical aspect, but also all of the other aspects that come into a token launch.
That's awesome. So when I initially said, kind of you've got, Pump Fund over here and then you've got Genesis over here, there probably is a huge middle ground also that is probably beyond Pump Fund, but not quite to the level that Genesis can actually. So you guys are going to be somewhat selective. Is the goal that eventually those Genesis kind of self-serve tools allow any project to use them? Or is it still that you guys want to keep kind of a level of, I'll just say hygiene. I'll go back to that word. I think it's a really good word because it kind of puts in sense that like there's real care and intention with each one of these. Is that the longer term vision for Genesis, that it maintains that level of hygiene for projects that are launching on Genesis? Or would that be kind of the fully backed Metaplex is reserved for that, but then this suite of tools falls into the middle for anybody to go basically leverage and launch on their own?
So one thing that maybe you don't know, or any of the viewers don't know, most or I think all of the launch pads currently in the ecosystem also use some parts of Genesis,
Okay.
that's like as you say, the self-serve model is basically just these launch pads using
Cool.
our tech, and that's how the ecosystem works, and that's why we built them. For us, Genesis is currently a white glove approach for
Sure.
bigger, more important projects that mostly need some custom work on their launches. Like these bigger projects that have huge tokenomics, that have huge roadmaps and some custom ideas on how they want to work in their tokenomics to their specific products. They are really the ones who need Genesis, and we are working with them. And that's what Genesis is.
That's really cool. How big is the team at Metaplex?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I think it's about 12 people. We're not
That's
a big
it?
team.
12
We're not a
people
big.
doing everything that you guys are doing?
Yeah,
Wow. That's
yeah,
wild.
we're not a big team, and it's mostly developer oriented. We're trying to make the team bigger gradually, and we're not trying to hire 20 people all of a sudden, because that would probably delay some of the product launches and stuff. So we're like taking it day by day, but yeah, it's a small team, but very, very productive. I mean, the brain power in Metaplex, as I came in 2 years ago, I was astonished by the amount of knowledge that these developers have and these people working in the background. And it's sometimes understated how much capability is in Metaplex, and I tend to try and highlight it as much as I can.
Yeah, it's I read a book a couple years ago called No Rules Rules, and it's kind of the book of the Netflix culture and kind of rise of Netflix. And there was something that they were huge on. They called it talent density, and that word, that term, just always stuck with me. And I think that's kind of what you're referring to, is that it's 12 people, but there's so much density within each of those people that you guys can have the output of teams that are, much bigger your size. You always talk about kind of these 10x developers, and if you just stack a room with a bunch of 10x developers, team doesn't need to be that big and can ship out a ton of really, really useful products. So that is awesome. All right, Sharko, I want to continue kind of moving this along into now starting to talk about kind of like LastMint and how you guys are powering that, and make this a bit of a commercial for LastMint for anybody who doesn't know at this point. So two things before I do that. Number one, is there anything else that we want to talk about with Metaplex that you guys are building, or something that's in the future that we can get excited about, or anything like that before we kind of shift gears? And then I also, as we move into this, I know how busy you guys are. You can certainly stick around for the entire thing. But if you want to bounce at this point, I can take it from here. There's going to be a lot more of like LastMint stuff too. Although I'd love for you to stick around if you want to. So those two things really quickly, and then we'll kind of get into, let's start having a little bit of a mint party and kind of share a little bit more about LastMint, and hopefully, what we can start building together is something really, really cool.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I have a call in 10 minutes, but until then, I would be glad to stick around.
Cool.
Look, there's something being built in the background, which might end up being like the biggest product that we ever shipped, but I'm not able to talk about it, and I would very much love to, because I'm the hype guy and I always want to mention cool stuff that we're doing, but I think I need to wait like maybe 2 months before I can say that. But generally, look, at Metaplex, there's always something being built. There's always something in the background that we're working on, and there's always some future plan. Our roadmap currently has a year's worth of work. So we already know what we're looking at in the future to a certain degree. These plans do tend to change depending on what the market needs. And, there's always some big things happening in crypto that completely change the narrative and how the space looks. And we always try to adapt to it. But we generally do have our verticals set, and we know where we are going. So, yeah, but nothing that I can openly share currently, unfortunately.
I just
there's one thing I want to say.
Oh, go ahead.
The way you talk about Metaplex, brilliant. Like the way you explain some of this stuff, I love it. So thank you for that.
Awesome. Well, like I said, we, our initial interaction and where we are today in terms of like kind of a relationship, I think, and for right reasons, we had real issues and you guys put real solutions in place and dealt with them in a really, really cool way. And as I've started to get to interact and engage with you guys more and see what you guys are doing and how much Metaplex is powering, the more I get into this ecosystem, because I am not a technical founder, I am far more of a, visionary founder. And with that, a lot of these things like these invisible layers that I don't know the challenges that you guys are helping us to solve or unlock. We had a problem the other day with something where with the minting was taking a long time, and I was unaware of why. I reached out to Helios because we use Helios. They power us. They're again a great partner, and kind of shared one of the problems that we're having. And they're like, well, have you tried doing this? And I'm like, I have no idea. I have no idea. This is not I'm not technically doing any of this stuff. One of my devs jumps in and kind of follows the conversation. And within 12 hours, we had our minting from like a 10-second experience to like an immediate experience. And the reason was it was just one technical thing that they were able to help us unlock. And there's just so much of that goes in this space. And I think that's what makes Solana really cool. When you start getting into Ethereum and EVM and like layer twos, it starts to fragment all of the talent and all of the energy. And Solana has such a consolidated energy, right? The partners and the infrastructure behind Solana is really clear. Now, there's a lot of other things that are consolidated within Solana, and that's part of that we talked about some of the benefits that Solana provides. Has an evil twin brother, which is it makes it really easy to kind of spam and scam and some of those things. But if you know what you're getting into and you keep your own personal kind of hygiene and diligence and discipline, it can be a lot of fun and unlock a lot of really cool things. And I'm so grateful. I bring my daughters into a lot of this stuff. I've got 6 and 8 year old daughters, and they know how to connect wallets and they understand, crypto and stuff like that. And I think just knowing that at a young age, and for us, being in this space for, I think you've been in this space for 8 years now or something, since like 2017. Right. And so,
exactly.
And so like having that, I saw somebody post the other day and they're like, I'm trying to hire people in Web3 and everybody comes in and then they don't even know how to connect a wallet. Like what are we talking about? Why are you trying to join a Web3 company? And I think there's just such a small fraction of the world right now who truly understands Web3, that it is such a huge advantage to everything that we're going to do as we go from being able to comment on a MySpace page to being able to buy your groceries in an hour online, right? Like, and developing and building that, we're, in a really good position. And I don't just mean we as builders and infrastructure providers. I mean, us as degens. I mean, somebody going in and minting on LastMint is learning a ton of stuff about how Web3 works. And I think that's really, really important. And so, awesome. Well, Sharko, you're going to dip at any time. I'll see your camera disappear. That's fine. You can give kind of a peace sign and bounce out whenever you want to, but stick around as long as you can. Let's dip a little bit into LastMint. And I just want to thank you, Sharko. Before we do that, I've got one other thing that I'll keep you on the phone, or on the phone, on the stream for. We're doing a 5,000, right now, a $5,000. Let's get to the switch banners for me. We need one more banner to turn, and then I think we'll get to yours. But it's a $5,000 reward pool. It is a completely free mint right here, and it is $5,000 worth of the MPLX token being handed out to 311 people in total that will be winners. And there's no reason that everybody shouldn't be not only getting here, but also telling your friends about it. And I'll tell you what I would do if I were you. Every wallet can claim 2 of these basically 300 gold prizes. I would mint until I get my 2, and then I would tell my friends. And I would use my referral tree to do that, because then as they come into the site, while they're doing a free mint, they're not adding anything to you. But if they start to explore the site and get involved in some of the other cool things that we're doing, every time they're minting anything that has some sort of a fee, you're making a small percentage of that as a referrer for them. And so it's a really cool way that you can kind of play LastMint without even spending anything, come in for the free mints, refer your friends. And Metaplex, you guys made this possible, but this is the first of multiple pools that you guys are actually putting together, which is absolutely incredible and insane. I'm so pumped on this. You guys went above and beyond kind of what my ask was. You guys dumped on significantly more, just a show of, again, what a great partner you guys have been. But let's go ahead and mint really quickly just to try and test this out, see if we can get our gold finally. What you guys don't see is I'm signing a signature, and then let's see if we hit gold. We are not going to hit gold. Let's try and mint 3 more times. And if we don't hit gold, and then I'm going to show you guys some of the cool artwork for the next 2 collections, which should be pretty awesome as well. So a little preview, some alpha. I think you've seen these, Sharko. You have, because you guys were a part of selecting all these. All right, no golds, doesn't matter. We'll figure it out later. But right now, if we click this collection, this is the non-winning NFT, and this is kind of the gold version of it. When you get this gold one, it has an automatic redemption value as soon as this collection ends. I'll explain how all of LastMint works in just a second, but let me very quickly introduce you to, okay, if this is our artwork for collection number 1, the next 2 become a little bit more interactive. We'll have this one here, which is this kind of really cool GIF artwork. And I should mention, All of these artworks were created by Solana artists. So we created kind of a contest through the super team, the Earn platform. We had, I think to this, we had like 50 to 70 submissions of different artworks. And we had to go through and choose the best of these. And there were so many great pieces. But I love this one. This little girl's creative. She's got the little LastMint tattoo here, but the Metaplex, all the movement, I think is cool. And then the final one that we'll run is this one. Again, kind of Giphy, or it's got like this GIF, animations and stuff. His coffee steaming and LastMint is flipping. He's kind of this robot guy. You guys, of course, have the robot arm as like a major component of what you're doing. So having all these kind of robotic features falls right in line with what we're doing. It's just so cool, again, to tap into the Solana community and just see how many talented people there are doing awesome things and being able to kind of bring all this together through our collaboration, through what LastMint's able to do, supporting artists, supporting the ecosystem, and doing it all together, I think is just really, really cool. So rad stuff there. All right, I'm going to dip a little bit more into kind of the LastMint commercial now, just kind of give people an idea, because LastMint is not just minting NFTs. It's not an NFT launchpad. It is, it is that, but it has a lot more gamification to it, where it's kind of like more of an NFT casino than it is just an NFT launchpad. But it is also a legitimate NFT launchpad. You're minting NFTs every time you're minting, but it's kind of got this extra gamified utility to it as well. And so I'm going to go to some of our hottest collections. These are the ones that are going to have a little bit more for me to share with you guys. And so let's go to this one, this collection here, which is actually my daughter's collection. My 8-year-old daughter launched this collection. She came to me and she's like, "Hey Dad, I've got art. I want to start selling it." She's like a little entrepreneur. She's like makes cards during the holidays and sells them to people in the neighborhood. And then she'll do free lemonade and cookies and have a tip jar. And she ends up making like, $30 on an afternoon. I'm just like, this is wild, right? She loves just doing stuff. And so she's like, "I want to start actually physically selling my art." And I was like, "Well, it's all digital, right, sweetie?" I was like, "What if I was able to say that you could get this on a platform and people could start buying it without you ever having to like buy a domain or go, register a business or any of this stuff? You can just get your art out there and people can start minting." And her pool is at 3.5 SOL now. So we're looking at like $700 that people have bought her art, which is fucking wild. Like, she's like, every day she's so excited. She logs in. She's like, "How many people?" All right. So let me show you what's going on with this collection. There's a couple things that make LastMint really unique. Every time you mint, you are minting an NFT. Okay. Sharko, see you. Thank you so much. Tell the whole team thank you. And we'll catch you soon.
Catch you soon. Thank you for the invite. And yeah, see you in a bit. Bye.
Amazing. Thanks, Sharko. And so there's a couple things that makes LastMint unique. The first one is, and I mentioned this earlier, but when you are minting, those mint funds do not go directly to the creator. They do not go directly to us, the platform. They go directly into an on-chain locked pool. And what happens is at the end, each of the creator, the platform, and everybody who's minted has a claim to a portion of that pool. So LastMint has a claim to 5% of every pool. So we take that off the top. Sorry, guys. That's our platform fee. We also use that to pay out referrals. So if you are somebody who's referring people to the platform, those funds are coming out of our own treasury. They're not coming out of creator funds or anything else, right? So we want to leave all the mint pools for you guys. We take our 5%. That's just the platform fee to run the platform and provide the service, and to be able to pay referrals and do some other cool things as well. The rest of the 95% is going back to creators and minters, people who are playing the platform. So the creator gets 0.5% of every single pool, no matter what. So Charlotte, my daughter here, if this is $700, she's made $3.50, $3.50, right? I think that's about what it would be. Yeah, that makes sense. So she's made $3.50. Not, crazy money, but I'll share with you how she can actually make a much larger amount on this collection in just a second. But all of it goes on chain. The creator's entitled to 0.5% of all mint funds, no matter what. And then the other 94.5% is going out to the rest of the community. And so it's on chain. Every NFT that you mint is going to get an equal share of that pool. And so that's one thing that we should kind of know. How you can get an unequal share is a couple different ways. So the first one is get a multiplier. Every single mint has a random chance of hitting a multiplier, 5x, 2x, 10x. And you're going to see there's a lot of non-winning NFTs, but there's a lot that are winning multipliers. This one's a 2x here. And you can just see that if we look at, and I know some of this is small, but if we look at somebody who minted right before, their redemption value right now is 0.015 SOL. So if the collection ends right now, they'll be able to redeem their NFT for the 0.015 SOL. This is kind of just the LastMint utility that we provide in addition to the normal NFTs. or they can hold it, trade it, sell it, do whatever they want as you could with any other normal NFT. But you have an additional option, which is to trade in your NFT for 0.015 SOL if you'd rather have that. You'll notice that this one is worth 0.03 SOL, and that's because he has a 2x multiplier. So you can basically figure that, think of every NFT as a redemption unit. And if you have a multiplier that you get multiple redemption units, becomes that much more valuable when you go to redeem it. It's the easiest way to become an instant winner is by hitting some sort of a multiplier within your mint. The other two ways to win are being early or being late. And so being early matters because there is an escalating fee to every single mint. So when we look at this, we can come here and say the very first mint that anybody had, it cost 0.02 SOL, right? That was the basically the base price for the very first mint. But we also see that there's an increase rate of 0.5%. And so every mint is 0.5% more expensive than the previous mint, meaning that the person who mint cheaper is going to pay less than the person who minted late. And so if the redemption value is the same, your ROI is enhanced by minting early, right? And particularly in the pools that have, higher increase rates, as if they increase faster, then the bigger that goes, or the more mints, the higher it increases, the bigger the pool goes with an equal redemption unit for everybody, meaning that if you were in early and paid less, that you have the same redemption as somebody who got in late and paid more, your ROI is just going to be greater. So that's one way to be early. And particularly when you hit these collections that run, right? When we get hundreds or eventually thousands of mints in these collections, being early will be much more significant than when you only have 10, 15, 20. The price never really has a chance to escalate, but it is a hockey stick curve because it is compounding escalation. And so, or increase with each mint. And so you'll start to see that become significant in ways, but it also becomes significant in that pool starts to grow increasingly fast, and therefore landing in one of what we call our bonus spots is going to be significantly more valuable as well, meaning people are more incentivized to mint. So bonus spots are last minters and runner-ups. And so with every collection, the creator gets to set how much, what percentage of that pool does the very last minter get, hence the name Last Mint for the platform, right? And so if this pool right now is 3.56 SOL, if this collection were to end right now, the clock hits zero, the collection ends, we would know that the last person to mint would get 10% of this pool. And so they would earn 0.3536 SOL on something that probably cost them about 0.03 SOL to mint, meaning they'd have almost an immediate 10x just by being the last minter, right? We also know that there's runner-ups, that 10% of this total pool is going to the runner-ups as well. And there's 3 people who are going to share that, meaning that if you're not the very last minter, if you're the second to last, third to last, or fourth to last, you'll fall in one of those runner-up bonus spots, and you will share basically an additional 3.3% of the pool in addition to whatever the redemption value is for your NFT. And so you want to be late, but you don't want to be late without being in one of those bonus spots, right? So if you're the 5th to last minter, unfortunately, you paid the most amount to be in the mint for somebody who didn't end in a bonus spot. And so you paid significantly more than the first minter. Your redemption value is the same, but you, because you were late, they were early, and you're not in one of those bonus spots. So there's 3 ways to win, as you can see. You want to be early, and for those pools that ride up, you can kind of let the pool continue to fill and fill and fill. Your redemption value eventually will become significantly more than you minted, even if you didn't hit a multiplier. The second way is to be late, fall in one of those bonus spots, fall in either the last minter or one of those runner-up spots, gives you an additional bonus to whatever you're getting. And generally, that's going to make you a winner on your mint. Or you can be lucky, and that's if you're early, middle, or late. Anybody has the opportunity to be lucky, hit one of those bonus multipliers, and I think that's a great way that you can also play the game. And so those are the 3 main ways to win. This is very much, a jackpot type of platform, meaning that you will lose more times than you will win. But if you can win, as we mentioned here, like 10x, then that will fund a lot. That will probably fund like 20 losers, right? Because all those 20 losers still get some back. Like every time you have a portion of the pool that you're entitled to. So if you mint for 0.03, let's do this right now. Let's mint on her collection. And if we wanted to, we're going to pay 0.037 SOL, which again, almost twice as much as the first person to mint that minted at 0.02 SOL. So you can see we're already, as this pool continues to fill up, but we can also see that the gains are really, the outsized gains are for people who are being late, right? And so we're going to try and mint this right now. We'll see what we get. There's, I think, also one super rare piece in here. It's called the glitch art. That's really what I want to get. This is not the glitch art. We got the grateful piece, which is really cool. And again, if we just click in here, we can see all the artwork. And so, you know, as well as the chances. This is the glitch art. I think there's only been one of them. Hevel actually minted this, I think, with the 80-second mint. Just gives you an idea of how often me and my daughter have been checking this pool. It's really fun on the creator side. Watch this. If we go to the 80-second, there you go. Here it is, 80-second mint. It's Hevel, and it is the glitch art. That's the one that that he minted. And here you go. There it is. There's the piece that he minted. You can click it. I think that's new, actually. I didn't know that we could click into these and see the exact piece and all the on-chain and what it was minted for and what the current value is and all that stuff. By the way, Hevel, if you're watching this and you want to sell this to me, I will make you a collection offer because we can do that. Let's see. In fact, let's do that right now. Great. Let's connect a wallet. And let's place an offer. All right. So I will offer you, you paid 0.02, 0.03. I'll offer you 0.05 SOL for this piece. Cool. And the reason I'm doing this is to show you that these are true. These are NFTs. As you've known NFTs forever, the NFTs that are no longer cool, this still has all of that value. We just bring this whole other value where you can actually, cool. That's complete now. Hevel, love to see if you want to do that. All right, let me show you what it looks like when we get into our profile. So a couple things. First off, you'll have your referral code here. Mine is Corey. Everybody else has a referral link. Go refer people. I've got 23 people. You know, I've claimed some referral revenue already, but I have some sitting in there. This is a way that I can earn just by having my audience, my friends, my community, my network, whatever, that I'm able to send here mint. And we make these really easy. So every one of these NFTs that I'm looking at, if I wanted to, right now I have a 8x return. We make this super simple to share. You can download this image. You can just click the X and you can immediately start to share this if you wanted to. And when it's pre-populating this image for you, we have, you can change all this text and whatever it is you want, but you'll notice that it is LastMint. It goes directly to the correct collection and it has my referral code. So if somebody says, cool, I want to see what's going on, they click this link, they're going to head over there. When they sign up for the site, they immediately fall into my referral tree. And then anything that they mint, I'm getting a percentage of. Now, I'm going to let you guys in on something that is right now available that may not be available forever, which is that we are, it will be available. It just won't be free forever. Right now, you can become a verified creator on our platform, and that comes with some additional benefits. So I mentioned that Charlotte is, and I'm going to go to our LastMint profile, and I'll show you where we're at. So if we go to our articles, we have an article here about introducing LastMint. In this article, we talk about becoming a verified creator. And this is one of the right here when we talk about create verified creators. And there's some additional perks for verified creators. First off, when you're on the platform, you'll notice that you'll see like a verified creator badge from anybody who is a verified creator. So let's go here. You'll see I am a verified creator. I have this badge. And when you're searching collections, you'll notice that some people have this verified creator badge and others don't. You can look for this verified creator badge if you want to find creators that may have a little bit more credibility on the platform. You know that it's not like just a one of 100 accounts that they're setting up and just launching a whole bunch of stuff. So it's a layer of credibility. Additionally, verified creators get 2% referral rewards. So anybody you send to the platform, you're going to earn 2% of everything they spend forever. So if they take one SOL, they spend the whole SOL, and then they go redeem it and they claim the SOL back and then they spend it again, you're going to make 2% on that both times that they spend it. So the idea that you can kind of like mint, win, redeem, repeat, every time they repeat with the same SOL over and over again, you're still making 2% every single time. So it doesn't have to be like just, if they win, if they spend one SOL and then they claim 10 back and then they go claim all 10 of that, every time they're spending anything on the platform, winning or losing, as long as they're spending, you are making 2% of whatever they do as a verified creator. However, if you're not a verified creator, you're only making 0.5%. Not that that's nothing, but you can make 4 times the referral rewards just by becoming a verified creator, which is absolutely free to do. So I started to show you how to do it, but if we get back to, right here, just click verified creators. It'll pull up a Google form, fill out the Google form. Now, this is going to tell you right here that you have to do this by August 4th. That date has already passed. We reserve the right to at any time shut this program down, and we will eventually make it available, but as a paid feature of the site. So if you want to become a verified creator, If you want that badge, if you want that the 2% referral rewards, I'm going to tell you a couple other benefits that they get. But you'll need to pay an amount in Sol. I think it'll be a 1 Sol thing. Don't lock me into that, but to become a verified creator. And this acts as kind of a gate that not everybody can become verified, or you can't verify 100 accounts. But for right now, and until we decide to shut it down, you can become a verified creator for free. Just go fill out this form, send it into us, and we will do all that. The second thing that verified creators get is that you will also get unclaimed mint rewards from your collections after the 30 days. So we talked about Charlotte's collection, right? That she's going to come in here and she's launched this collection. And right now there's 3 Sol in here, and or 3.5 Sol in this pool. Well, as this collection ends, people are going to start redeeming their NFTs, right? And so we'll come here and I can look at any of my collections that have finished. I can look at basically ones that are redeemable. Let's sort by value. All of these I can start to redeem and pull my money back if I wanted to. So this one right here, Solana bucks, I'd rather have 0.265 Sol than that. And so I'm going to redeem that back. Now that's pulling 0.256 Sol out of that collection pool. However, if I want to keep this, so I'm going to keep this one. I'm going to keep, there's a couple of these that I'm keeping because I like these art. This AI body freaks me out. So I'm going to, every time I look at it, it freaks me out. So I'm going to redeem that one as well. So that's pulling that amount out of the pool. Every NFT has a known redemption value for 30 days after the collection ends. However, if I look at this and I go, let's check out our active ones. And if I look at, let's see, redeemable. And if I pull like these out, these, I have a couple of hers. I've got California and cheese. I'm going to keep these guys. Like, there's no reason that I want to go redeem this or this or this of my daughter's art. And so instead of whatever this redemption value is, instead of me pulling that back, it stays in the pool. At the end of 30 days, if you're a verified creator, everything that's left in that pool comes back to you. And so this is a way that if people are keeping your art, instead of just redeeming it for whatever the redemption value is, you're able to basically use this as a launch pad to go build, to go monetize your art. At the same time, you're able to build your referral tree, right? So launch a collection, go tell the world about it, make sure when they come to the site that they're using your referral code. So you're starting to build a referral tree. You're getting people to mint your collection. And then there's going to be, right now that we're still in like launch mode, we're starting to pick up traction, but we will eventually have tens of thousands of people on LastMint every single day minting. This will become a huge discovery engine for artists as well, that you can launch a collection with some cool art, let your audience know about it while you're building your referral tree. They're minting your art, you're monetizing off that, and you're now getting this discovery engine as well, where thousands of more people are going to see your art. And especially if that collection starts to cook, who cares if they're minting for the scratcher or the lottery aspect of it? If they fall out of the last minter window, they're not a lucky minter. They may look at that and go, hey, I'd rather hang on to this NFT than anything else. I've done this a number of times. If I start to look at this, there's some cool, these 404 faces, this collection's still active. So there's not a lot that I can, let's just go to the finished, in fact. So I'll redeem some of these. So notice I've redeemed one of these divine corruptions, but I'm hanging on to this one. I think it's really cool. I'm going to hang on to this Ember Empress. This one's even tougher because I was the last minter. Like if I look at this, if I click to share, I'm up 3x on this. And, but I still think I'm going to keep it. And the creator of this collection will end up, as long as they're a verified creator, will end up getting that additional Sol that I didn't claim back for myself. And so there's a number of these. I think this is super cool. This no face, what's it called? All fabulous. I thought that was a funny collection. Let's see. If we have this bird, I thought was kind of cool. This little NFT GIF. We have these cool dinos. So anyways, I've held on to a lot of these collections, and some of these I may still go back and explain a hole-in-one on the moon. Cool. And so yeah, some of these collections I basically mint, and then at the end I accidentally fall in love with the art, and I'm like, I'll hang on to that. What if that artist, that guy or girl becomes a really cool Solana artist? And so I always hang on, or I shouldn't say always, but some of these I'll hang on to. And then, ending soon is a really cool way to do this. And I want to bring this up as well. So every collection has a countdown timer. You can see it at the top here, right? And when we look into this collection, if we look at the details, we can see that this countdown timer is 120 minutes. So what that means is it's a reset timer. So every time somebody mints, if I go mint this collection right now, as I mint it, this timer is going to go from a minute 34 all the way back up to 2 hours, that full mint timer. And so the collection ends when the timer hits 0. And this happens, guys, especially if, a lot of these have longer timers right now because, like I said, we have, hundreds of people coming to the site and visiting each day, but not thousands or tens of thousands. And so there's not just like that flood of volume to make sure that a 10-minute collection can actually last for several hours with hundreds of mints before the timer hits 0. if we were to launch a 10-minute collection right now, you know, the amount of people that are on the site or coming to the site as new players within that 10-minute window is not significant enough to keep that collection going with new people and new minters and new activity. And so most collections right now are being launched with longer timers. And so you're looking at like 2 hours and things like that. However, that's not to say that, you know, the collections can't still launch short and have a lot of activity, or that they can't launch long and, you know, still have short or not a lot of activity. But some of these are going to go on for hours or days, given the way that they're set up right now. Eventually, we want collections ending all the time, right? We want everybody, last minters, rewards, bonuses. We want these pools closing. And so, but a couple things, you know, a lot of people have said, well, aren't these collections just going to run forever, especially the free mints? And partially, yeah, because right now, you know, you can go mint for free and you're going to get 1.1 soul if you're the last minter. You're going to get 0.2, basically 25% of 1 soul if you're one of the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So why would you not mint? I don't know. I promise I'm not going to be trying to just like fill this board up and take all the prizes, although I may try and keep the collection going from time to time. And if I fall into a lucky mint spot, oh well. But I'm not really competing against you guys. But if I was, I would try and go lock in all 7 of those spots with free mints and then wait till somebody else does it, and then wait till the, you know, kind of a later time, or when I think people are about to go to sleep, I might try it again. And it could keep this collection going. There's 2 other things that we do to make collections end a little bit sooner. One of them is the timers will decrease over time. The reset timer will get smaller day after day for many of these collections. And so if we have some that are like, you know, 24-hour countdown timers or reset timers, and they have very little activity, we'll start chopping that clock down. And that way it makes it so that you can not have to wait for, you know, a year before that collection ends, and you can start to get your soul back out of that pool. And then 2 other things that we are going to be doing. So right now you have to wait until a collection ends to be able to, so this collection's active. Even though I have a value here of this, I cannot go redeem that value yet. And these are in, if it's in a bonus spot, it's a little bit different anyways. But there's a lot of these that I'm not in a bonus spot. Let's just go back here. Like this one, I'm not in a bonus spot. And like I'm not a last minter or a runner up. My value is 0.015. It can go up from there, but it can't really go down because my mint price is known, and the bonus spots are being rewarded on a percentage of the pool, which can only go up. And so as that pool goes up, as more and more people keep minting, the pool goes up. My redemption value actually goes up a little too. But if I would rather just say, cool, I'll cash this in for 0.015, we are soon going to have basically an early redemption where you can kind of surrender it before the collection's done, and you'll be able to claw back your soul immediately if you want that instant liquidity. It will most likely be closer to 0.014. So there'll be a small kind of like sacrifice for doing that. But nonetheless, if you care more about liquidity than full value, that's a way that you can do it. And then we're also going to be launching relatively soon here what we're calling Joker collections. These will be the collections that are far more about like building a lottery style like jackpot. And so these can come with higher mint fees. They can come with higher escalation fees. They can come with whatever. You could still make them lower collections as well, but these will get really interesting. After a certain number of mints, a Joker will become active. And at that point, every mint after that has a 1% chance of pulling a Joker. If you pull the Joker, it immediately ends the collection. And so you become the last minter. And so there's this additional bonus of becoming a last minter when the Joker becomes active. And that will start to create a frenzy where a lot of people are minting, trying to get the Joker as much as they are trying to just run the countdown timer down. So if you're worried about the timer being an issue, Joker collections are a great way that you can know that if you're participating in a Joker collection, they're going to end in a much more consolidated amount of time. Whether you're early, whether you're late, or whether you're just trying to be lucky, any point in that pool, as soon as the Joker becomes active, it starts to have a much shorter lifespan because you know that within the next 100 mints, more than likely a Joker will be pulled, or within the next 200 mints, I should say, on average around the 100th mint, that Joker will be pulled, and that collection will immediately end. Of course, it still has a countdown timer. It can still hit 0 naturally. And if it does hit 0 naturally, that collection would end. And so those are some of the things that we're doing. We have so many cool new features coming as well. I don't want to tease these features, but they are coming like right around the corner. I'm not talking like these are, coming in September or November. We have some features that I promise you guys will love. Some are just engagement features, like leaderboards, activity feeds, things like that. Some are going to be features that I think you guys have been asking for and wanting. Just assume that we are working on both the creator end, so being able to launch, give creators a lot more flexibility when they launch, and then also working on the end of just kind of the minter who's on the site that wants to be able to interact and maybe chat or wants to be able to engage in the community in certain ways. Again, leaderboards, things like that. So following accounts, being notified when accounts are running low or an account launches a collection. All this stuff is on the roadmap, actively being built. And when we talk about that talent density from earlier with the Metaplex team, we've got it too. We've got it in spades. The team that we have working on this is absolutely incredible. All right. Are there any other things? Oh yeah. Let me just show you really quickly about launching collections, because I think that's kind of the other part of this, which is really, really cool. So I'm going to get, I need to get just kind of like okay, that'll work. All right. So if I want to create a collection, I can come here and it is really, really simple. I can drag my artwork in. If I wanted to, I can, add the minting chances. That's why when we saw like my daughter's collection, she had, some that had higher chances than others. She was able to add multiple variants in here. She was able to basically like add attributes to each of these so she could name each of these. So you as a creator have all that flexibility, but the only thing you need to do is you just need to add an image. From there, you'll go to the next step. You need to add a collection name. You need to add a base price. And from there, you need to accept the terms and you can create the collection that simply. However, you also have a lot of custom options as well. You can add descriptions, you can add social links if you want to add your Instagram or Twitter or Discord. All of those are certainly able to be added. And then we talk about all of these the different options as a creator with each pool. So you can set how quickly does the price increase, slowly or quickly. Is the LastMint share 1% or all the way up to 10%? How many runner-ups do we want? Do we want one runner-up or 100 runner-ups? What should that percentage be? 1% or all the way up to 10%? And so you get all of these, and then what should the reset timer be? And then we have these kind of, built-in modes. And so if you go something chill, it's going to have a pretty relaxed price increase. It's going to have a decently long timer. It's going to have, a lot of the pool being spread out to runner-ups and last minters. If you go to the YOLO mode, it's probably heavily concentrated towards the end. So you've got 10% of the last minter, 10% of the runner-ups. It's got a very, very short timer. It's got a heavy price increase. And so you can kind of use our presets in here. These are all random, by the way. So if you just keep clicking chill, you'll notice that it's staying within a certain window. If you keep clicking YOLO, you'll notice that these bars tend to, float at the different ends of kind of this here. So you can kind of click these until you're happy, or you can just, manually adjust any of these. And then from there, we create our collection, we sign the signature, and our collection's live, which is really, really cool. It's one of the things that we wanted to do is be able to launch collections in a really, really quick way for creators. And so everybody becomes a creator now. So if digital slop is something you've been wanting to launch, now you can do it. And I should just go back to saying that there's 3 ways to play LastMint. The first one is be a minter. Just come on the platform, try and mint these lucky gold mints. I told you we're not going to stop minting here until we hit a gold. So, man, they just stole our gold. Congrats, 5 EDP FP. I hope you were on the stream and heard about us from this. We're going to do it the easy way rather than coming to this. We're just going to do it from right here. This tends to be, for me, I like just watching this number tick up. Can we do it before we hit the 800th mint? Successfully minted. No, that one was not gold. Let's keep going. Gold. Come on. No, come on. And again, I want to give huge props to signing this transaction now. I want to give huge props to Helios for helping us out as powering the simplicity of this. Look at this. No golds. Come on. All right. We're going to go 3 more. If I don't hit it in the next 3, I'm going to give up on this for now. I'm going to save them all for you guys. But remember, when I say save them, there are 234 remaining gold mints left. This pool will go on until the timer hits 0. Every time we remint, the timer goes back to 3 hours. And I should also mention that there's not only the gold mints, you're also still fighting for one of these spots. And the last minter share in this is 20% of a $5,000 pool. That's $1,000. The runner-ups, there's 10 of them sharing 20%, meaning each runner-up is getting 2% of the $5,000 pool, which is, I believe, $100 a piece. Let's see, 20% of 5,000 is 1,000. There's 10 people splitting that, $100 a piece. So every runner-up is getting $100. The last minter is getting $1,000. And again, guys, it's free to mint. And until we pull all of these gold mints, so you're looking at an 8% chance. There's 300 of them. So about mint 2,400 is when these should hit close to 0. But until then, there's plenty of these to be had. It is limit 2 per wallet. So, what I'd say is go mint your 2 and then go tell your friends all about it. Build your referral tree, let them mint the rest. And come on. I said 3 more, right? That's 1, 2, 3. All right, guys. We were just unlucky today. We got to 805. Man, that's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If the username's no breaks, I would think that maybe we got to keep going. And 8% means 1 in 12 would be my. So the 12th mint is what I should expect to hit it. So this is 11. Come on. All right. 12. This is the one that the odds say that if I don't hit this, I'm unlucky. I'm unlucky. All right, but we got no breaks. We're going to keep going. If that's the username, I guess at some point we got to put the brakes on. You guys are getting bored, I'm sure. Let's go do a couple other things in here. Let's go mint some real collections just so we can see what's going on. Let's find by ending soon. This is cool. Aphation launched this one. I really like this. I'm going to go mint this. And just so you guys know, just looking at the platform a little bit, the plus 177 means that that's the expected value of if you mint the next one and you become the last minter, like Aphation is right now, he would be, in the, where he's 106 up 167% on what he paid to mint. And so 0.01 to mint, 0.028 is what he would be able to claw back if the collection ends. If somebody mints on top of him, and I happen to know Aphation is a him. And so if somebody mints on top of him, then, you'll fall into the last mint spot. You want to kind of remain in the last mint. Pogba, I guess, got a 2x, which is lucky. But Neva is the one right now that's kind of in the worst spot. Probably paid the most to mint. Has the, just the single unit redemption value. It doesn't have any of the bonus spots, but anybody in one of these bonus spots is going to be positive EV. And again, if this collection starts to run, I'll look at kind of the escalation. 0.4, it's got a healthy escalation of the price increase. And so if this does start to rip, there's going to be a decent amount of winners in this, even just for being early. So guys, that's LastMint. Be early, be late, be lucky. The 3 different ways to play. You can be a minter, you can be a creator and go launch your collections, tell a community, and then you can be a referrer. And again, I'll remind you guys that we are still allowing anybody to become a verified creator right now. All you have to do is fill out the form. Give us a little bit of time. We'll update all that. You'll get 2% on your referrals. You'll get the verified creator badge. You'll get to keep anything that is unredeemed from that pool after 30 days. So once the collection ends, everybody with those NFTs has 30 days to basically go redeem their soul or their NFT for soul. And if they'd rather have the redemption value than hang on to the NFT. And at the end of 30 days, that option goes away. And then we distribute the remaining funds back to the creator if you are a verified creator. And I think that's it, guys. We also have the Solana Gold Mint collection going on right now. Again, I'm already the last minter. I did that as a sample. I'm not, again, trying to win these things, but there is like 5.5 SOL that's sitting in here. So over $1,000 worth of SOL. The top prize is going to get, over, looks like $250 or so right now, or, SOL's at 200. So $220 right now. And each of these people are getting $50, $60. So there's some SOL to be had here. All of the gold mints were already cashed in. And again, we've got several left on this free mint. If we just go to the hottest, the Metaplex free gold mint, we've got several left here. I think we've got 234. Apparently they're very, elusive, given the fact that I've minted like 15 times now and have not hit one. But nonetheless, you guys can go get those up to 2 for each wallet. Make sure you get your 2, tell your friends, build your referral tree, and come follow us, guys. I appreciate you. Give some love to Metaplex. Go thank them for providing this pool. And as I reminded you guys earlier, this is the first of many what we call gold mints, which have these kind of free pools in them. Solana has a couple more. Metaplex has a couple more. We'll be launching Tensor collections. And then we have some TBD or TBA. I have not yet announced some other major sponsors, partners that are coming in. Some doing gold mint, some promoting in other ways, and some insanely cool features that we're going to be adding. A lot of them around some of the stuff that Metaplex talked about, some of their Genesis stuff. Our goal would be to not just make this kind of a SOL platform, but to unlock this for a lot of other fungible tokens to be used as both currencies and rewards. So a lot of really cool things that we're working on with LastMint. You guys are still very, very, very early. In fact, early to a fault right now. But I promise you guys that when we look back on this 30 days from now, this will feel like a very short window of being too early to where you can just say that, man, I was there on the early days. I built my referral tree. I minted some early collections, and I got to, take advantage of being early. And while everybody else didn't, eventually everybody will be here to mint. This becomes a part of your daily routine to kind of check the collection, see what's ending soon, see what you want to get involved in. Are there any runners? Oh, let me show you one final thing before I go. All right. And this is going to be that's not the right one. Give me one sec. All right. All right. So we built this. It's kind of like a simulation of what kind of these mints start to look like. And so we ran this, pool that starts at 0.1 SOL. And I think this has like the lowest amount of escalation. It's like a 0.1% escalation with each mint. And so if we just start to simulate, like, what does this look like at 500 mints? Well, that pool starts to become, even with just starting at 0.1 SOL and a relatively small escalation, starts to have a significant amount of SOL in here at the 500 mint mark. As we start to look at the 1,000 mint mark, the pool starts to fill up even heavier. It becomes pretty significant. At the 5,000 mint mark, remember I talked about this kind of like a hockey stick, right? So now it starts to get to where the next 1,000 and 1,000 and 1,000 start to add more and more value to this pool. You're looking at 2,200 SOL in this pool, which, if you guys want to do the quick math, is just shy of like $500,000 that would be in the pool going out to people who are now minting and distributed out. So if we just take this, you were the very first minter in this, you minted for 0.1 SOL. Right now, the redemption per share is going to be about 3.77. Again, this does not have a huge escalation, but just by being early, you're at almost a 4x on your investment. If you mint late and you fall in one of those bonus spots, a runner-up, which we've got like 10 of these only sharing 5% of the pool, and LastMint only sharing 5% of the pool. LastMint is now at 111 SOL, which is, I think, like $25,000. And this is going to be, here sharing about $2,500 for anybody who falls into the last mint window. And so you're now minting, the mint fee would be about 1.2 SOL on the 5,000th mint, but 1.2 SOL can easily turn into 111, which is 100x, or 11 SOL, even if you fall out of that window and become a last minter, which would be a 10x. And even if you fall out of there, you still have 0.377 SOL that you'll be able to claw back if you wanted, meaning it's not a total loss like most NFT mints. If you mint it and you don't get what you want, you're kind of screwed. You can go burn the NFT, I guess, but you can't burn the NFT for 0.377 SOL. And oftentimes, if it's something you didn't want, it's probably something other people didn't want either, and trying to sell it on secondary can become challenging. And so LastMint adds an entirely new utility that gives you kind of an anti-rug, to where you'll always have some redemption value for that 30 days after the collection ends. But this is where it gets really interesting. If we could go from 5 to 10,000 mints on a collection that started at literally 0.1 SOL, you then have 2,940 and 43 29,430 SOL, which $200 SOL, you're looking at $6 million in that pool, guys. I'm going to do the math on here just so that you guys can see. 430 times the exact price of SOL right now is $1 million would be held in this pool, going back to people who are participating. That means that the final minter is getting 1,400 SOL, which 1,400 SOL is 1,471 times, let's just say 200, is just shy of $300,000 that one person would be earning from this, which means these are all worth $30,000, which means these are all worth $500, meaning somebody who came in and was the very first minter who minted at what would be about $20 is now collecting $500 on their $20 mint just for being early. Again, somebody is now, the last minter is paying significantly more, but has a chance at getting, what do we say, $500,000 or $400,000 or $40,000, somewhere in there. I forget what the exact amounts were, but you can see where these can start to get really, really interesting once we start to hit a couple runners. And so a lot of ways to play LastMint, a lot of reasons to play. Hopefully you guys are having a lot of fun. I just want to thank Metaplex. I want to thank Solana Foundation. I want to thank Helios. I want to thank Solana, Tensor, all of our partners. We've got a couple more that we'll be announcing relatively soon. We've got some cool SNS integration. So if you're somebody who has your own custom SOL domain, .sol domain, we'll be doing that. If you don't have your own .sol domain and you'd like to get one, I think we may be able to get you a LastMint.sol domain like subdomain. So you can be like username.lastmint.sol. So a lot of things that we're working on. By the way, we won't publicly be announcing a lot of these new features and things we're working on, like other SPLs and SNS domains and the Joker mints and the chat feature, leaderboards, activity feeds. That's 6 new features that I've announced on this as kind of like alpha. We're not going to be publicly announcing those on our Twitter or X account. If you want to get the alpha, show up to the streams. When my mouth runs loose, that's when we, I end up sharing too much. When I'm calculated and I have to hit send, oftentimes I just don't do it, and nobody allows me to do it. So this is where you're going to get the alpha. I appreciate you guys. I wish this stream would have had a lot more people. I think that we have a lot more in front of us to still look forward to. You guys are early, but just know you've got a base team behind this. You've got a significant amount of partners, and being early, there's significant advantages to you guys. Go build that referral tree, get into our Telegram chat, follow us on X, and I appreciate it. I'll take you guys out with a little outro, and that's it.
Have you been waiting for something fresh on Solana? Check out LastMint, the NFT casino where every click could cash. Mint from hundreds of live collections or spin up your own in seconds. The art, set the rules, then watch the chaos that ensues. Minters mint for the art or to win jackpots. Either way, every click resets the clock and ups your chances of winning big. And when the tiger hits 0, the pool detonates. Last one to mint gets the crown, runner-ups get their cut, and lucky minters walk away fat. But everyone, even the unlucky, gets a share of the pool. And LastMint is more than just degen mints. Weekly lotteries, free golden mints, infinite referral payouts, endless chaos. LastMint is always on. Are you?